Thank you so much, and my apology for changing the sequence a bit, and there's some logistic reason to it. Thank you so much. And what I'll do is we'll be brief, but we'll tell you a good story. And may I request our panelist to come on the dais, please. Dr. Ravikant, he's officer in charge and head of Tata Hospital Center in Muzaffarpur. That is a place, district, which is one of the most backward district in the country, and he's officer in charge, but I'll tell you some good story about it. Dr. Moitri Basu, she's the head of NGS facility at Muzaffarpur. Moitri, please come over. Dr. Vidya Veldore, she is a senior scientist at 4-Base Care, and this is a NGS lab at Bangalore. Dr. Anuradha Chowgule, she's a consultant molecular biologist at medical oncology department at Tata Hospital. Dr. Akhil is there. Akhil is downstairs. It's okay if he's there. It's fine. Otherwise, it's okay. Dr. Amit Dutt, he's a senior scientist and PI at ACTRAC, and he deals with all the basic science work at ACTRAC. Another one, Kishore Kota. Kishore is not there. He's a medical oncologist at Muzaffarpur at Tata Hospital, and looks like he will be coming day after tomorrow because he's completing his tenure there. And Dr. Sahu,
logging through.
Oh, Kishore is online. Yes. Oh, Kishore, are you online?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hi, Kishore.
Hi, sir.
Hi, Kishore.
Hi, sir. Hi, sir. I'm able to hear you.
This phone had to do something with why I preponed the panel discussion. And Dr. Sahu is there in case he's there? No.
Yes, sir.
I'm there. I'm there.
Hi, Sahu. Good
Hi,
afternoon.
boss.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. Okay.
Kya kare, sir? I wanted to be there, but had to be online today.
Oh, no. It's our loss. But anyway, we'll have you there. I know you'll be as effective.
Yeah.
So what the topic for today panel discussion has been setting up NGS testing in remote location. So as I told you, you can't get, we do have, you can say Andaman Nicobar is there. We can have far more remote locations, but by and large, you can't have a more remote location than Muzaffarpur, and that is something 3 hours from or 4 hours from Patna. Anyone has been there? Anyone? Not here. I know the people. Anyone from audience has been there? In the audience, anyone? So please visit it. So that's the reason I chose whole team who did this job. So yes, there is a NGS facility because you have a NGS person who runs the NGS lab there. Dr. Pratik, come. Pratik needs to be there. And in fact, I wanted someone from SKMC. Pratik, ajo. So yes, so you have in charge there. It means that there is a lab there. So starting with something, and I thought the best way to say about this one is, and which is true because Dr. Ravikant is there. He's the head of that place. NGS before CBC. Am I making the right statement, Dr. Ravikantji?
Correct.
Correct?
Yes.
Yes. So this is a correct statement. So you have NGS before that. Institute, there's a CBC happening. Don't get me wrong. Muzaffarpur doesn't have CBC. That's not true. But that institute doesn't have a CBC. That's true. The institute which has got NGS today, that doesn't have an official CBC report coming from that institute. Am I making a right statement, sir? Kuch bhi ho sakta. So Kishore, am I making the right statement?
Yes, sir. You're correct. NGS before CBC. This statement is absolutely correct.
Absolutely right. Because Kishore is today handling that. And every a few weeks he shouts at me that CBC is not happening at that place. Why it is not happening? So yes, and not only Bihar, we are known in India. We didn't have a landline everywhere, but we had cell phone everywhere. So it does happen. It's not only has happened with it can happen with NGS, but it does happen. We had a cell phone everywhere, but we never had a landline. And this is a story from that place. Now coming to, is it needed? Kishore?
Yes, sir.
Is it needed? Do you think NGS is needed in a place like Muzaffarpur? Or we say no, it is not needed?
No, sir. It's needed. Now We are getting so many patients here, so many, same like what I got the patients in Mumbai, same patients I'm getting the same set of patients. In month, I'm getting almost 15 to, like it's almost 20 lung patients, and we are getting CML patients, and the other, like what most common subset we are getting ovary patients. Most of the ovary patients we are getting, like it's almost 20 to 30 monthly ovary patients. And in all these scenarios where we can use all these molecular tests, where we can do all these things we can do with this laboratory. And mainly, if I am not wrong, this is the first center which we started NGS in Bihar. If I am not wrong, maybe I may be wrong.
So is there an NGS center in Odisha?
No, sir. No, sir. Not
Is there an NGS center in Jharkhand?
No, sir. No, sir. Not in Bihar. I think most of.
Is there
I think one.
Is there in a Calcutta apart from TMC Calcutta? Oh, and
Sir,
apart from that place, that's a famous place where we got.
No, I think private, not in Calcutta also. No government institute or anything have NGS laboratory.
So again, highlighting that you have an issue regarding it, not there in the whole area. And Kishore, who was posted there, he's our consultant there, and he thinks that it needs to be there. Anyone differs or suggests the same, that it may need to be there, or someone differs? No, kya fayda hai wahan reh ke? Yeah, go ahead, Amit.
Because anyways, the turnaround time is practically 2
So
weeks.
which place in Mumbai?
Mumbai, Tata, why not?
No, Tata, 40,000 is the cost. Patients say, I can't take, I can't pay.
Again, the cost will be the similar.
We'll come to that. I assure you that that's what there's a story there. Anyone thinks that other way? So Amit, hopefully, let's see, we can convert Amit that we need to have not only Muzaffarpur, other places also having. So just because you have a central lab, that doesn't mean that test is available for the patient. And how much time it takes to get the report? Anyone from the central lab? Some number? Dr. Vidya is there. Vidya, ideally, not not what we say. Next year, what will give? Today, if you send for 4 base care, 3 weeks.
Yes.
So 3 weeks. Kishore, how long the patient is willing to wait in Muzaffarpur when they come from places around surrounding areas?
Frankly speaking, no, they don't want to wait until 3 weeks. Frankly speaking, like people are.
Okay. So again, there is another issue which we don't realize. Yes, sir. Please go ahead, sir.
Very true.
That's the reason I'm saying. When I say that in remote area it can happen, it should happen where patient wants. Not because
Sir, I just want to highlight one thing.
Go ahead.
See, when we are in Mumbai, the people are like 50% will get educated, and if we tell, as of now, there is no emergency to treat, we can wait for 3 weeks, and if I push chemotherapy within 3 weeks, you may get some side effects, and they can understand, we will wait. But what the set of patients, what we are getting in Muzaffarpur is a bit different. I am not talking about the duration of the report. What we are getting is different. What the set of patients, what we are getting in Mumbai, and what the set of patients, what we are getting in the Muzaffarpur is different. What I just want to point and what I want to highlight is, even though if I tell you will get side effects from chemotherapy, if I push within these 3 weeks, they will not understand. And they just want some treatment should be started as soon as possible. That's what it is.
So, so there is an issue regarding this. You want the test to be there. Now coming to, so that we require, most likely we think that tests are required. Ravi Kanji, what was the donor's interest? So first of all, this lab was not set up by TMH. It was by donation. So someone gave the money. ये कैसे convince किया आपने? And he is the person. ये किधर को उसको कैसे convince किया? मुजफ्फरपुर में हमने lab setup करना है.
Correct. So
वो बोला पटना में नहीं है, रांची में नहीं है, कलकत्ता में नहीं है, but हमें मुजफ्फरपुर में setup करना है.
So COVID did many good things for health system, and it's a great opportunity. And as a public health person, मैं पहले बता दूं कि I'm not a oncologist. I'm pure public health person, and I work in various disaster and tuberculosis and other things. Since last 2 years, I'm into data. So after the second wave of COVID, everybody is talking about gene sequencing and detecting variant. So I found one donor who was ready to support anything with gene sequencing. So I thought, then I thought, ये कोविड तो आएगा चला जाएगा, but we should place this, we should put this money, because sometimes donor also don't know what is the best way or where to invest for sustainable. They think just like I give you best example, oxygen, that PSA oxygen plant. All across India, there are so many installed, but now they are struggling to maintain and run that. So that was the main reason why I decided to put this almost 5 crore rupees now we received from Doctors for You. And we decided to build this lab in SKMCH, State Government, Bihar Government Run Medical College, pathology department, because the installation is the easiest thing. The running, maintenance, and the technical support expertise is even much more important. And
so
that's
what
why.
Dr. Ravikant Saab said is very important. In India, we have more than 600 NGS machines. If you look data, and this people, the same company who puts NGS machine, they say कि इतनी requirement क्या है और data कहाँ आता है? So what he says, you have a whole lot of machine, but data coming out is far limited. So there's a concern कि भाई, so that was his concern कि भाई machine तो मैं ला दूंगा, उसके बाद क्या करोगे? So there were two angles to it. So one was someone gave the money, and then there was an NGO involved called Doctors for You, who took it up upon themselves, we need to implement it. So this was the two parts of it. And then subsequently, we had people from ACTRAC. So we have Dr. Amit Dutt. He has all PhD students, n number of them. He does discoveries. Amit, what happened? What we got interested in Muzaffarpur to put a lab there to give a report to the people who are there almost 2,000 kilometers away from here.
So there are several aspects associated to it. I mean, besides that, there could be more of a democratization of this whole platform across in different different regions, where it would be serving the clinical needs for. The question that kind of like comes around is that this field is very much decimated with the plurality of the data. We really do not have the data from the regional centers, and encouraging more and more of the regional centers to have these centers would allow us to get an access to understand what exactly is underlining there in these regions, which otherwise is not possible at all. What percent of them, as what is started around with what exactly is the need, now that we know that there is a need to have a center in-house located at these regional centers that would cater the generation of information which would otherwise not be possible to obtain. So one of the primary interests coming from a laboratory side is that we get to understand more plural data sets besides the clinical need associated to it. And then that allows us to raise more hypotheses, generate more hypotheses, and advance the biological understanding, end of the day.
So this is an advantage of interacting with your colleagues in the basic scientist lab. You can motivate them to set up a lab there, and that can not only be useful, which can be there for diagnostic. And yes, he has also in mind that he should be answering some question. Coming to TMH, Dr. Anuradha and Dr. Pratik, Muzaffarpur, ye to dono ho ke bhi aa gaye. What happened? Got involved in Muzaffarpur work?
Yeah, this was very interesting to have NGS at Muzaffarpur. So it's not going to be used only for the oncology, but as Dr. Ravikant ji has mentioned, it is for the antimicrobial and also for the pharmacogenomics. So it's going to be a multivariate utilization of NGS. And the COVID has taught us to be on online, and we could, me and Pratik all the time on the group, we used to have a weekly meeting, and we could design and develop the NGS lab over there, and also for the instruments which has to be procured. So finally, when everything was done, me and Pratik went over there for the installation and to handle all the other logistics things.
So Pratik, there's a lot of bioinformatics, very sophisticated ones. Pratik, Muzaffarpur mein kya karne wale ho?
So sir, it's not only about bioinformatics, but frankly speaking, all kind of resources we had to arrange from the scratch. The installation civil engineers are not aware what kind of quality is required for NGS lab. So when we say NGS, it's not only the machine, the whole infrastructure to support the sensitive machine and to run it in a diagnostic accuracy level requires a lot of other things, and we worked out each solution from scratch, and a part of that is also bioinformatics solution. So thankfully we had done a lot of development for oncology along with Amit sir's guidance. So we are implementing all the solutions at Muzaffarpur right away, and we hope that in further future challenges we'll be able to cater in the similar way, or maybe even do better.
So thank you. So again, you have another group which got involved, which was useful to have the lab there. Next, you have a private player, 4 bases. Dr. Vidya, how come 4 bases got involved? उनके लिए तो कंपटीशन हो गया, बोला डॉक्टर कुमार एक तो उधर से बना दिया आप लोगों ने, अभी तो उधर सैंपल भी नहीं आएगा.
So
this is on a lighter vein. They have been very nice, yeah, base ma'am. So what motivated?
So as a laboratory, not like any other traditional commercial approach, we do have an interest of spreading the awareness of precision oncology and trying to bring in cost-effective NGS panels, pre-designed, validated in-house, and then translate the technology, training, analysis, everything to the society and make it available to the poorest of the poor. Because today, take gefitinib, erlotinib, or imatinib, Novartis and other companies, they are giving free drugs in many places. So if molecular testing can be made very, very cost effective to many places, particularly NGS-based approach. We did have an era about 6-7 years ago where real-time PCRs were coming out so cheap. That is how I think Dr. Anuradha ma'am and others in TMH could establish EGFR testing for poorest of the poor without much problem. Now is the era where we need to provide combined molecular testing of multi-gene panels to the poor. And I think we as scientists should do something. And for base care had a similar vision, like a government setting like TMH to give it back to the society. And I think that's where we could contribute, giving small panels, which can be asked, which could reach to the poor. Some could pay, maybe some could go with philanthropic approach, whatever way, at least try to make it cost effective.
So not only sharing panel, they also got the manpower trained. So that's
Yes,
acknowledgement
yes,
from
training.
our side. So next is the most important thing, and that is only Amit and Moitri can say. Moitri, she's from Calcutta. So think about a manpower getting to run an NGS lab there. We have a nightmare getting a medical oncologist there, which is far bigger in number than the someone doing NGS. You don't get a good NGS person in Mumbai, and not only that, she changed track and changed many things to get trained. But first of all, what convinced you? What Amit did?
Yes, actually, this is quite surprising to me that somehow I got connected to Amit sir. And there was just 30 minutes of discussion over phone where he explained about this upcoming facility and also how much I can learn from this facility. And secondly, I used NGS in my PhD and postdoc time. but not hands-on. So in that case, even sir convinced me that I will be getting enter training and again a scope of learning many new things. So just because of that, I relocated from Kolkata with many other opportunities, my home, my parents, and just to have the scope to learn, I relocated to Muzaffarpur. And yes, indeed, I am really grateful to Amit sir, not only that, Dr. Ravikant sir, ma'am, Pratik, and everyone. Because of them, I now, I can say that from 0 to now, I am little bit, I can self-assess that I am 5 out of 10 regarding the knowledge of lab setting, these different mutation types, different targeted therapies that can be applied. And I hope with them, I can be more, I can learn more and be able to establish this facility and run this facility with success.
Absolutely. Thank you, Moitri. In fact, we really thankful to her and thankful to Amit. So now we know whom to catch to convince people. So that we have realized after that. So we have 2 more people. Akhil, NGS lab at Varanasi, required, not required? Definitely required.
Without that, we are stalled. It is a lifesaver and we need it at any cost. We need.
So do you struggle today?
Yes, sir. We are struggling a lot. Troubling sending the samples to any institute, even if it is 1 kilometer, 2 kilometer outside your own institute, it is a challenge. You need to manage the logistic. You need to manage whether the tissue is transported properly, whether there are any efficiency is maintained, patient identification is not missed. There are a lot of issues.
And then the WhatsApp messages.
Yeah, there are so many messages. You are in that group where we try to push so that everything is on time.
Oh, good, good. So we heard from another relatively, not so peripheral center, not like Muzaffarpur. Varanasi is far better. If Varanasi to आजकल तो hep place है. But फिर भी. So coming to Dr. Sahu. Dr. Sahu, after listening to all this, do you think it's good to have a lab there? And we need to have lab at many more places, which is effective and running and gives the report. I have not forgotten the cost. I'll come to that cost part.
No, definitely. A lab in-house is nothing. You cannot have a better thing to work with. But my 2-3 points is that what I get out of this story, yes, it's a lovely thing to have these labs in the setup in the remote areas. I have 2-3 issues which I'll put it forward very, very clearly. I don't think NGS is a lifesaver to me. I would not put it in that category. And secondly, if I put this in like a place like Muzaffarpur, where Kishore told that it's more of the poor people, I think most of them would be under some government schemes. So I have 2 or 3 questions, and very clearly first to the lab questions, which I should, because I tried it in Bhopal, it did not feel cost effective to me. First, what patient load do you require to make a thing profitable? It's okay, someone gave a money, but the money ultimately has to be used in a profitable way. Otherwise, the sustenance is not done. Number 2, I want to Kishore, how many of these patients did it? Leave CML. CML is a different thing. In the lung cancer or solid tumors, did you ever change therapy because government schemes do not allow anything beyond a gefitinib in the lung cancer? I get crizotinib for BPL free. So does it make a change? Practicing Bhopal, which does not have NGS, MP doesn't have NGS, it has not hampered my way of treating patients. If the patient is affordable, 2 to 3 weeks would not matter. If I'm very sure of a EGFR positive report, very likely patient profile to be EGFR positive, IHC is good enough. I quickly call up a lab. They do it in 3-4 days. So good thing to have lab is a lovely thing. Nothing going against that. But in a practical way, do we need lab at every district place like a NGS? My point is NGS. Second is, what patient load should it make it profitable? Someone gave a donation does not mean that we do not utilize the money in the better way. Third thing, how many of these patients Kishore could change treatments and patients could afford treatment? These are 3 questions that would, then the whole thing comes in context.
Okay. Can I take that question? No, Kishore, I'll take that question. Is that okay? Yeah. So
Yes, sir. Yes.
Dr. Shahu has absolutely valid questions. I know that when you have this lab in these places, have you thought about these things? Yes, we did. We did think about these things. So first part is that the setup makes a difference. So with the way I will think, or Akhil will think, and the way Dr. Sahu will think, or Bhavesh will think, will be a bit different. Because what we do, I give you example for ALK inhibitors, we arrange 70 to 80% ALK inhibitor for our patient on our own. They are not able to afford it, and we take that responsibility to do it. Someone can argue it is sustainable. I don't know, because we keep begging every few months to someone. We do on daily basis. Yesterday, that's the reason. If people who were there yesterday might have seen, there was a whole, for social worker, there was a separate meeting there, and that's what we do. We talk to a social worker on a regular basis. Hey, where can we get some fund from? So there is a way of trying to get that fund raising mechanism so that they are able to get the treatment. Now, if are able to get the treatment, now where is the test? Now we need the test to be there, and for that, second part is that now what's the cost of the test? So only the caveat to the whole story is the report we have not given to the patient, and I was coming to the last, but as the Dr. Sahu pointed out, so I need to concede that hopefully in 2 weeks the report will be there in the hand of the patient. That we have not started as yet. But having said that, let's take a step back. That how it will benefit the patient. The way it benefits, for gefitinib also you require those treatment to be there. If I want to, they have ethics committee. Just now they got 4 or 5 clinical trials approved, partnering with SKMCH. Now how that patient will get those access? So there is an issue regarding that. There's a vicious cycle. If you don't have one doesn't come. But if you make one, I do concede to Dr. Sahu that you have to see that other things are also in place. So if I'm having NGS, I need to see that patient gets the drug. Do we do in TMH? We do it. Everyone? Not everyone. Majority? Yes. Do we see? Yes, Akhil wanted to say something.
So, sir, another way is to have a trial related to that. For example, TMH Varanasi is now having capmatinib phase 4 trial. We are going to have TDX trial. So it is a way to ensure that at least one trial is available in all the concerned centers, so that the patients can be referred in the institutions. For example, if you are able to test for metaxon 14 skipping, and is it feasible in the first line, you can send the patient to a center where the trial is available. So it becomes easy. And now I can clearly see the number of clinical trials in India are increasing, and the pharma industry is clearly knowing that if they don't do the trials in our country, we are not going to accept that. So this is a phase shift which we have seen in the last 1 or 2 years.
In fact, I'll put it other way around a bit. Not necessarily pharma doing as much trial as they do in Western world. If they are doing less, we have a responsibility. Are we making it conducive for them? More often than not, they get frustrated with our system and goes away. So are we making it conducive? How do we make conducive? Because we have 1.4 billion, but the moment they calculate the number which really takes treatment and are eligible for studies, you suddenly realize there's a whole lot of people who are not eligible because test is not there, fitness is not there, facility is not there. So you do have those issues there. But I do concede to Dr. Sahu that yes, if you're putting a machine like this, you should have thought about it. And yes, that's why I'm saying we did think about it. Yes. Dr. Ravi.
Yeah. So can I add to Dr.
Yes,
Sahu?
please.
So what Dr. Sahu has said exactly जो मेरे mind में था before setting up this thing. It should not be like white elephant कि आ गया और फिर कुछ काम का नहीं है या चलाना मुझे. So I was listening to Dr. Amit Verma that case, and then Purvesh Parikh sir also. So these tumor cells are also behaving like microbes, bacteria. I relate it with the tuberculosis, MDR. So there is a huge problem of drug resistance coming. In fact, do you know, after the COVID, the two major global challenge, the one is of course climate change, and second is antimicrobial resistant. There is a prediction that by 2050, more than $100 trillion will be lost just because of antimicrobial resistant. Your talk was very interesting. The way, in fact, you have given one example where within 3 months, patient became resistant to the thing. So, and you said 6 lines, 7 lines. So, without NGS, we are not able to detect those mutations and start the correct line of treatment. Similarly, in tuberculosis and other, and tuberculosis is a huge problem in India. We use that gene expert machine. You must have heard that. Gene expert kya batata hai? Just to rifampicin resistant hai or not, INH, the TrueNet bhi aaya. But if you do the NGS of these TB mycobacteria, you will find 14 the antibiotic resistant pattern in just one click. And it's always better to start with, if the antibiotic, you know, already these are resistant, you will start the drug which is sensitive to it. So this machine, abhi jo load hai, hardly once or twice we run actual the machine. 28 days wo machine to वैसे ही पड़ा है. So we can use the same machine for doing gene sequencing for tuberculosis. The load is high. Government is not able to purchase that CBNet cartridge. So my target is to not focus just on the tumor sequencing, but antimicrobial resistance sequencing, doing research work. And my target is to bring this cost less than 10,000 rupees per test, maybe around 5,000. That is my target. I don't know kitna achieve hoga ye kya, but I'm very sure the way things are moving. Agar pehle dekhe tab to ye bhi possible nahi tha. Human genome
Dr.
project.
Ravikant, he has put a target, and I'll be commenting about the cost in the last. Amit, you had some comment and summarize.
To address to the questions that what Dr. Sahu had just raised, those are very pertinent and relevant questions that anyone and everyone would raise and ask to themselves. But then I see the biggest problem in these kind of initiatives is the overcoming the mental block. So the dollar value for overcoming the mental block is way too far more than the cost effectiveness or the affordability, because the cost effectiveness and affordability can be those are kind of an academic problem that can be dealt with novel approaches as well as with solutions, as what Dr. Ravikant just mentioned about, by ensuring that the machine is uptime by answering questions other than associated with oncology there as well. So I see those as an academic questions which definitely need to be, but that can be addressed at a later point of a time. First of all, coming over the mental block that yes, we can. Yes, it's possible to be done at a center, and yes, the people around over there can be benefited. Whether how the drugs would reach up to them, that's a second question, and that can be, as what Kumar has already mentioned, that once we have the question in hand that these patients would qualify for certain treatment, then the answer we would have to explore in a subsequent way that what would be the possible ways to get those treatment to them. But unless we really have this data set, and unless we really prepare ourselves to come out of this mental block that this cannot be done at a remote center, there would be no step moving further.
So, as I said, I'll tell you the cost last in the end. So first, this was possible only and only because all the names, all the party I said, it would not have been possible. You had to have some NGOs giving money, some NGOs executing, the TMH involved, ACTRAC involved, 4-base care involved, getting the right person. I forget to mention SKMCH, what he mentioned, giving a space there, because we don't have there's no building of TMH. So
in fact, now I have convinced Health Minister and Health Secretary of Bihar to fix some around 1 crore rupees just to purchase the panel for doing this testing through this lab.
So there are ways and means.
Government can support.
Government, the money which is going waste, it can be used for someone's treatment. So these were all people who were involved, and that's the reason it happened. And so again, thanking everybody. Coming back to cost, yes, today the cost will be 20,000 rupees per sample for around 52 gene panel. But plan is that shortly with the cost will be around 10,000 rupees for 52 or 53 gene panel. That should happen shortly, maybe in a month or something like that. So yes, decent. Do you say 10,000 is cheap? No, I'm not saying that. As Dr. Ravikant ji said, absolutely. Can we make it better? I do agree. It is possible to do it. Again, a struggle will be there. Let's see, the team remains and the team gives more solution. But absolutely, I enjoyed, the being part of the whole effort by people around, and everyone putting various ways and means, all those meetings happening. They have gone through for 6 months, almost every week, Wednesday, which is every week, Wednesday. This is what has led to this. And apart from training. Who wanted to say something? Dr. Sahu, please go ahead.
No, no. See, it's always good, Kumar boss, to have these things. And as an oncologist, I would appreciate these things. I just feel, because I have been somehow of a semi-administrative position, maybe in a smaller hospital, I always feel that that money which comes, let's say if it would have been in Patna, would the logistic would have been much better, because the transport of the sample would have been few hours, and you would have more samples reaching that place. That is the only moot point which I had, because that is the only thing. Otherwise, excellent.
Can I take the question? So I totally agree with Dr. Sahu that when we see many logistics, the answer looks different. But I'll give you one example for the same. If we have these kind of all things available, sure, we would have wanted to do in Patna or maybe Calcutta, which would have been because Patna we don't have a center, so there was no way to put it there. But I'll give you an example. Do we require people to come to Mumbai to get treatment at TMH? Shouldn't have had all centers, every state government having a wonderful cancer center. But what do we do today? If you don't have it, is it a good solution to make a good center in TMH? And you know that in ACTRAC, we are adding some 600 or 700 odd beds, and Hopkins here, we are adding 600 beds. Do we require to do that? Ideally, no. Every state should have had a wonderful centers, and there was no need for patient to come to TMH Mumbai. But in the meantime, if it is not happening, is this a decent solution?
Sure. Now, I'm nothing taking away from that. It's just a matter of a panel. That's it.
Justifying it to you, Sahu. That's all.
Yeah.
Sahu is a dear friend, so we. And best part about Dr. Sahu is that he will give a free and frank opinion. That's very nice about it.
Thank you.
Yes, last word, ma'am.
Yeah. In the next, once we get the good experience out of learning from this kind of establishing a laboratory in a rural area, the next bottleneck is the white elephant. We should involve a technology player and say, as we increase the awareness and bring in more testing, you should bring down your reagent cost and your instrument cost so that you can support the society.
Yes.
Totally agree. So idea is that once you start something, have you looked around? There are 10 more things, work on it, and then you realize, oh, everyone benefits. But I totally agree with Dr. Sahu when he said this is not the solution. This is one solution where you have many things around it. Totally agree. And again, thank you so much. The whole team. Thank you. Absolutely proud of what we could do together. Thank you so much. Go ahead. No, don't have to.
So I'm really impressed, first of all. Ravikant looks like to me Niti Aayog CEO. So
he struggles.
So with a vision you can achieve. So you have to have a vision. So you have not bought the NGS only for lung.
Yes.
It is NGS for all of the diseases. Then you can justify it. I think that is the aim, what we have achieved. Not necessarily it has to be the common disease, and the rare scenarios also. And rightly said that it can open so many things, the trials, the research, and everybody will benefit with that platform, irrespective. And it is going to be an example for other states to follow. This is more important.
Yeah, if we don't use it, it remains white elephant. We know that we have done a disservice. Yes, ma'am. Last comment.
Yes, this team really requires a standing ovation. In fact,
I totally agree.
In the Indian set team to do something like this, to pull this off. With rightly, as Dr. Amit said, the mental block is so huge. Raising awareness, whenever we talk about NGS and sequencing, it's a big no from everywhere. So in that scenario, doing something like this and trying to pull off, it's a huge deal, big one.
And also, it's not a rocket science. Perception will be like, oh, people can do it. that was in fact, the private player who worked on it and who helped us out is a startup. And it has happened like this. So Pankaj, me and you were there, I think so. That was discussion. अरे यार NGS नहीं है इस area में, ऐसे हो सकता है क्या? मैं बोला देखो है तो सही लोग, अब पता नहीं होगा कि नहीं. And then you realize, oh, okay, people will start to keep joining, and somehow realize solution kept coming. And Ravi Kanji is again he keeps getting solution from somewhere or other.
Hi sir.
Go ahead.
Okay. So first of all, I would like to congratulate. When I saw that news on the group that Muzaffarpur has an NGS, that come as a shock as well as a very, very happiness to me that we are starting a new service there. Just one question about the mental block only. So when we are doing a RT-PCR or we are sending for IHC, we are not taking into consider the cost of that. If we do a RT-PCR even in a C category, it around 7,000. We do IHC cost around 3,000 to 10,000. We are already spending for that thing, but we are not ready to accept that we are getting more information at a slightly higher cost. And that's what I agree. It's a mental block only. And if we go with that, there are a lot of indications and a lot of implications which can come when we have a lot of data available, and we can make it use in various ways to justify the cost also.
In fact, I'll add to that, Alok. Sir can comment and then I'll add to that. So in fact, the cost comes down. If you take EGFR, ALK, ROS, MET, BRAF, keep adding, and then you're able to give the test at 20,000 rupees, which today also I consider it is costly. That's what the team has been like, nahi, isko aur kam karna hai. Let's see what happens finally. If we are able to do 10, then I think so we have really done a good service, and some work has happened, and the same team has been working with each other for the same, and I hope it happens. So if you add it, keep adding EGFR 4,000-5,000, ALK fish karoge 10,000, ROS fish karoge, ALK lete IHC 4,000, ROS fish karoge 10,000, MET आपको MET which way you want to do. I leave it to PCR karoge tab bhi 6-7,000 because that MET PCR is also a bit of a problem. Keep adding, and then you realize we did the costing. So it was absolutely rightly asked by Dr. Sahu. Did you do the background? No, we did that. We did. Yeah. So you were right in saying that sometimes we don't understand that technology may not only add cost, many times it brings down the cost. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So just as how cost is being brought down, I just wanted to add our experience at Mahatma Gandhi Medical College in Jaipur. Today, all the genetic changes in acute myeloid leukemia, we are able to do the test and provide in 2,400 to a patient there. So really, what you're doing is going to be a great service to the nation. And though there are so many people who have played a vital role, there has to be one person on the ground to execute the whole thing. And I think we must congratulate Ravikant for doing that in such a fantastic job. I know he has done the same thing in different fields. I know him for many, many years. And this is another great achievement and a feather in his cap.
And tell you, two people, जब in discussion हुई, अरे मुजफ्फरपुर जाओगे क्या? And it was best part. They said, हाँ जाएंगे. And that too, leaving a lab in Mumbai, absolutely. Thank you so much. I agree. I thank the audience. Huh? Yes, and she's going to again second time. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.